Hi everybody, this is Ellie. Thanks so much for joining me today for a flip through of my completed bullet journal. This is volume 1 of my 2020 bullet journals, and it took me from January through June. This is a Hobonichi plain notebook in the A6 size that I had cut down to pocket size at my local Staples. I loved this book. It held up really well, and aside from kind of some scuff and dirt marks, the only sign of wear is this little part that's peeling, which doesn't bother me at all and can be glued back down. So I always had this in a leather cover, and it feels so nice, and it's a little bit fluffy and chunky, but not unmanageable for me. I do have videos where I set this up for the first time, and then I go through monthly setups and flip throughs. So those are all in a playlist if you don't want to watch it all at once. But I figured that I would go through this for you guys, hopefully pretty quickly. I will do my best to name shops where I can, but if you do have any specific questions, feel free to ask down below, or if you look at my older videos, things might be linked there. So this is a sticker that I got with a Chic Sparrow order, and these flowers are by Cheyenne Barton, and I've written the dates here on a strip of the KITTA washi tape. I had my inbox with the post-its, barely used this, and my quote for 2020, which came with me into my next bullet journal. My information page. This sticker, The Greatest Project You Will Work On Is Yourself, is from the Michaels Homebody sticker book. It's a Happy Planner Homebody sticker book. And another Cheyenne Barton sticker. My index, which I kept up with pretty well, I think. Yep, I even put May in there, so good to go. I had a section for projects. I didn't use it, so I did not do that in my current bullet journal, volume 2. My one little word for the year, which that's based on someone's website. Oh, I can't recall the name right now, but I will link it. And my word for 2020 is discomfort, which ended up being quite the apt word choice, I think, and is honestly something that I think about pretty much daily at this point. I used these washi calendars, and these were great, but if you watched my volume 2 bullet journal setup, I did mention that I switched to a little insert for my future log just so that I don't have to redo calendars every time I start a new bullet journal. I have some collections at the front of this. I have this grid layout, so I know some spacing shortcuts, and I also just wrote down the pens and markers that I was using, so I remembered if I wanted to keep it consistent. I have my 2020 goals here, all represented with stickers, which I love. My workflow diagram from Getting Things Done. I haven't read this book yet, and it's not at the top of my list, so we will see when I get to that. Think Before You Buy and wish list. I thought I would keep track of gift ideas as they came up, and it turns out I did not have any spontaneous gift ideas, so this stayed empty. This is my favorite spread in here, and possibly one of my favorite spreads ever, and these are 8 of the books that I already had that I want to read this year. So far, I have only read The Untethered Soul, but I'm reading through Daring Greatly right now, and I loved The Untethered Soul, and I'm loving Daring Greatly too, so it's been a good start with these books. Things to check out. Some notes on self-care, some coping statements, how to do the work from the Holistic Psychologist's account. Some notes on dialectical behavior therapy. I love that. I loved kind of focusing on this more balanced thinking. Some of these things will be transferred to a long-term bullet journal collections setup. / reference pages. I'm still working on that, so I will definitely do a video once it's mostly set up. This is my cycle tracker, something else that's going to go into my future log insert. Some notes on health for myself and my partner. Curly girl tracker for my hair, again in my future log insert now. Social media ideas. It's pretty sparse here. I do the same few videos, but that's what works for me. If I do have an idea that's out of the ordinary, I will jot it down. A YouTube video schedule. Good in theory. I didn't really keep up with it. I kind of stopped in March. I might try to do a version of this again in my future log, or I do have a social media set up, so it might very well end up in there. YouTube Kanban. I used this for a little bit, but this one wasn't really that realistic for me because I don't usually have more than one video on the go. So nice idea, it just wasn't super functional for me. Some space for hand lettering and for doodles. I didn't do a ton, but a few. And then we moved right into my monthly and daily pages. So I do a focus for each month and a list of tasks that I'd like to get done in that month. January was a very productive month, I can see. I also have my calendar index here where I fill this in at the end of the day or the next day whenever I get to it. And it's just kind of an index of things that happened that day. So January is pretty much just highlighter and pen, very simple, a few stickers here and there. And I love this. This to me is, classic bullet journaling. Very, very functional. I love being able to write as much or as little as I needed. Some Callaby Brown washi. I use a couple of little icons here, a television, that's a fork and a knife, and a heart. Pumpkin Paper Co. I chose my word of the year. I was working through the power sheets, so I ended up choosing my word of the year towards the end of January, and I liked doing it that way. Hopefully this year I'll do my power sheets sometime in November or December so that I'm ready to go into January, but it doesn't really matter when you do it. I had the undated version, I guess, too, so it worked, and it came up really organically, so I was happy with that. I had to do some bank research. I love her from the Pumpkin Paper Co. Like, she's stealing away there. Series finale of The Good Place, one of my all-time favorite shows. If you're looking for something that's hopeful and smart and funny to watch, I would definitely give that a try. So that was January, worked super well, and I know I can always go back to that. But what also happened in January is that I found Daksina on YouTube and fell in love with her style and her basic stylogy, and wanted to try and incorporate some of that into my own system. So for me, that meant more tip-ins, more washi tape, more stickers, and just playing around more with the supplies that I have. So I tipped in this vellum from TheCoffeeMonsterzCo. It's so cute, and stamped a February title page. Added some washi, and I also started including these printables from smplans, the same as Daksina does, to mark off the days and be able to visually see where I am in the month. I've got my focus, my task list, and my calendar index. Here is where I decided I would do 1 day per page. This is a pocket size, so it's pretty small. But as you could see from January, I never really needed a full day per page here. So it left me some space to play with and see how I liked adding stickers. I was a patron of Courtney Diaz at this point, so I did include some of her printables as well. This is when teachers were striking in Ontario, so I used this Munchkin from Once More with Love and did a picket sign. Stickers and washi tape. I had some of these to-dos from Hobonichi kits. This washi tape was from Sojourner. Trying a few different layouts here. These columns were too narrow for me, so I just did it that one day. And I had fun with it. This was my first week with it. I enjoyed it. Some stationery ones when I first started kind of trying to follow a stationery budget. Still a work in progress. Another tip in with my birthday wish list. Got some printables, washi, stickers here. This is from Pumpkin Paper Co. Valentine's Day, I was just using some stickers to mark what we did that day. A list of specific sticker icons that I wanted. I love this lavender washi tape here. Family Day, here I'm trying to use just a little drawn in icons to see how I like that. It ended up feeling a little bit too busy for me. Here I started separating my tasks from any notes or memories. I did that using some thin washi tape. I'm separating it with the Hobonichi stencil. One of them has the wavy line. This is the first day that I tried journaling. I worked this day and I only had one task, so I had all this space and journaled in here, and I really liked it. I had never kind of thought about combining those, but there you have it. Did that here as well. I don't always track my work days up here, but sometimes I do if there's specific things I'd like to remember from them. I'm a supply teacher, so that might be specific notes about the class or the school or something that happened that day, an activity I want to remember to try in future. And it was a leap year this year, so I enjoyed marking that with this super cute bunny. Moving into March, I watercolored the background of this page. Another reason I love the Tomoe River paper, it gives you the flexibility to do that, although this is the only watercolored page in this whole bullet journal. Some budget stuff, my calendar index, and same style. I'm using some Simply Gilded date washi here. I still have the divider washi at the bottom. Having fun with it. This was my birthday, so I just have some icons here. The next day was a day that my mom and I spent together to continue birthday celebrations, so I loved marking that off. Some Amy Brown washi, some more journaling. I have a picture in this one too. It's strange to be looking back through these and see how much going out I was doing when it's still pretty limited here. Some more journaling, Amy Brown washi, watched a movie, got some Happy Mail. So March is looking pretty consistent. Tasks at the top, notes, memories, journaling at the bottom, and divided with washi tape. That's from TheCoffeeMonsterzCo. This is when I was coming up with the questions for the planner tag, Who's Behind the Hands. I do have a playlist for that I will link. People did some really wonderful videos and it was fun to learn more about them. This was a list of movies that I want to watch and areas of my life that I'd like to organize, or I guess not my life so much as my items. So some clothing, some books, some papers, some teacher stuff. I left this tab so I could get back to it. One of my friends had her first baby. And I like this. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Tuesday, I had no tasks, just memories. In April, I used this vellum that I've had for years. I don't know where it came from and couldn't find it online anywhere. People asked. And I also put in a quote, "Just keep letting go by being aware that you are aware." And that was from the Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. I like choosing a quote and having it at the front of the month. It's just a nice focus and reminder for me. My monthly pages. I have this mushroom foil from Callaby Crafts, my smplans printable. These are getting more and more full now that we're at home. I think I like choosing something from every day to write in here. So here I start using some timelines, and I talk about this in more detail in my April flip through. So I'll just go through it pretty quickly. I have a timeline, I have tasks and journaling at the bottom. I've stamped out my dates on a Tombow brush pen background, and then I just wrote the actual day of the week. This, you'll see as I flip through, the style changes a tiny bit, but the function is the same. And I love this. Looking at it now, I really like the simplicity of the pen and highlighter or markers again, a few stickers here and there, and some washi, but pretty minimal. I had an order of Simply Gilded arrive that I swatched there. I was filling these in after the fact, so instead of writing what I wanted to do during the time, I wrote what I actually did do, because for me that's just a lot better than having a bunch of tasks and looking and realizing that I didn't get to them. So, nice way to see how I was spending my time. It just ended up being that I wasn't doing a ton of things that I really needed or wanted to record beyond kind of whatever was in my tasks, notes, and journaling already. Still have some washi on some days I wrote more, so there wasn't any space for it. I don't pre-washi usually. Sometimes I will if I'm doing a plan with me, but because this was a new setup, I was just seeing how it went. This was Easter, so it was just a day of journaling and some stickers. Some days I had very little and just put a quote, and I love that too. I love this page here, actually. That's beautiful. And this quote is from Revelatori. I love her account. I'll link it down below. When doing is too much, being is enough. So April 15th, still going with my timeline. A little tip in here. Permission not to have all the answers. These are some song lyrics from This Is Me from The Greatest Showman. I guess I wasn't feeling like journaling these pages, and that's fine. Here's a big spread of happy. I got some super generous happy mail from Robin at Talks from the Heart and Marinae at Protect Your Peace. So I just wanted to swatch some of it and journal about it, because this is such a lovely community and I've met so many kind and generous and thoughtful people. And that was the end of the timeline. I think what ended up happening is that it just wasn't being used that much, and I started feeling like I could use that space in better ways for writing more or including more decoration. I don't know, I just decided to change it up, so here we are. I had also started implementing a morning routine that was inspired by Amy Landino in her book Good Morning, Good Life. It incorporates movement, mindfulness, and mastery, so I wrote those 3 things down and marked it with this Rise and Shine sticker from Helen at TheCoffeeMonsterzCo, which I thought was perfect. Another tip in, you'll have to watch my April video for that story, but happy that's hidden behind this paper. Used some Dyan Reaveley stickers that I had, colored them in. And I'm liking this. I think I'm starting to find my groove, which is still heavily pen, like just pen, paper, highlighter focused with some decor. Like, you know, here was another down day, and I just love having stickers that mark that in. Reminder to ride the wave of my emotions, of my mood, of what's actually happening out there in the world. And this here, oh, this is probably tied for favorite pages in this notebook with my books to read spread. I ended up having an empty page, so I thought I could write this quote out because I loved it so much. And of course, I just took my Tombow, you know, colored in this rectangle without doing any measuring or even eyeballing how much space this would actually take up. And then I had this huge empty spot. So I just Googled an image here for the Fellowship of the Ring, and I just used my fine liners for it, my Le Pen Technical Drawing Pens, and I'm super happy with how it turned out. And again, I love this quote, so this page makes me really happy. And we're heading into May. I have this vellum that Robin sent me from Simply Gilded. My quote was that one that I read from Revelatori: "When doing is too much, being is enough." Got my calendar index, some Simply Gilded washi. This was my everyday watercolor tracker. I only got through 8 lessons this month, so I've transferred that into my next bullet journal. A wish list. I left a ton of space here. Here we go again, my morning routine, using some stickers, my lists, and my journaling. I love this washi. The colors are beautiful, and there's different designs for every number, which I love. So similar here, washi at the bottom, quotes, journaling. This only started really bothering me, like the thickness of the washi at the bottom, towards the end of May. So just had to post it. I don't even know if I have anything under that. Nope, Mother's Day. This is where I started doing my weekly reflection, also inspired by Good Morning, Good Life. I really like that, and that's something I'm still doing in my current bullet journal. Sorry about that. I got interrupted and had to come back to this a couple of days later. So on this day, we had a girls' day, and I love kind of marking those off with their own special stickers and a little more writing. It just reminds me that something different and something that I really enjoyed happened that day. Here I was doing my tasks and journaling pretty consistently. We're in the process of moving this month, so I wasn't as consistent with my journaling this week, but I still have my tasks and my notes. And the great thing about that is this paints a pretty comprehensive picture of what happened that day. So even if I wasn't necessarily journaling about my feelings that day, I still have an overview of what happened or what I did. Weekly reflection still going strong. Victoria Day. So you can see I'm pretty easygoing with this. Some days are just pen and a little washi. Got journaling some days, stickers on other days. It really kind of goes with my mood. This was our moving day. I was happy to mark that with a big box. My weekly reflection, it's now split into quadrants, and I really like that style. This is what I'm still using in June. I made my first order from Paper Geek Co. A friend and I split a set of washi tape, and it's beautiful. Swatched it all in here. Some video notes, thoughts on a medical setup, organizing returns that I had to send back. Here I did a page at the beginning of the week because I had a number of tasks I knew I wanted to get done, but I didn't know when they would be scheduled yet. So I really, really like this, and this is something I've also carried forward into June. I'm actually trying it as a rolling weekly, which is different, but seems to be pretty effective so far. Coming up on the end, I don't even have washi or sticker decorations here. These were just the ends of some of the new washis I had gotten from Happy Day, so I put them in there because I had a lot of space. And that's May 31st. It brings us to the end of this bullet journal. I have my last weekly reflection, and I ended up with 1 blank page, so I think that's pretty good. Here I've swatched my Tombow Jewel brush markers, the neutral set, plus 1 extra one I bought that is similar enough that I wanted to see how it compared. And on these last end pages, I just put the ends of my washi tapes. I just like how it looks. It's like a little mosaic, and I don't always like to throw them away. I used to have a quote tipped in here too, but I've moved it into my current bullet journal. So that's how this guy came together from January through May. He did get a little bit fluffy, but nothing that I couldn't handle. If you've watched any of my videos with my kind of chunkier Hobonichis, you'll know I don't love the hump. So this size, the plain notebooks, are a really great thickness for me. And right now I'm in my pocket A6 size Leuchter, but I do know I will be going back to this notebook at some point, whether it's the end of this year or the beginning of next. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.